Welcome to another session of EDUCAUSE Demo Day on chatbots. My name is Jason Martin. I'll be your host for this session. As always, please use the chat to share comments and ask questions for our presenters. If you would like to view closed captioning, you can do so by clicking the Show Captions button at the bottom of the Zoom room. And now please join me in welcoming our presenter from TeamDynamix and Jason Pelletier from Bowdoin College. Over to you all.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody. We hope that you have had a wonderful demo day so far. We are really looking forward to showing off our conversational AI platform within our tool, TeamDynamix. I'm going to go ahead and begin our introductions. So my name is Kaylee, and get PowerPoint to behave here. So my name is Kaylee Belda. I have been with TeamDynamix now for a little over 6.5 years, but I actually spent over a decade within higher ed IT support at Western Kentucky University. And actually, for many years, I managed our instance of TeamDynamix at WKU. Joining me today and helping us show off conversational AI so you all can understand where we are at with our offering there. Joining me is Jason from Bowdoin College, a fantastic customer of ours that has done amazing work with the conversational AI bot. Jason, do you want to further your introduction?
Sure. As Kelly said, my name is Jason Pelletier. I'm the Senior Director of Client Services and Technology at Bowdoin College. I've been here at the college for just over 20 years. All of my time spent really in the service and support realm. In fact, most of my entire working career is providing service and support to customers. Um, and we have been using the Team Dynamics platform for 8 years now for ITSM or IT Service Management, and then have been using conversational AI since it was released just over a year and a half ago. So we've done some fun things with it and some interesting things, and have some really good um, have had a lot of good feedback on the usage of it. So exciting to show off a little bit of what we can do.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jason. And for you all that are joining us as far as our cadence for the presentation today. So I'm going to do an overview of our offerings and talk a little bit about what we see within the market space, especially within higher education when it comes to leveraging these types of tools. But don't worry, my presentation isn't going to be too terribly long. I'm then going to pass it on over to Jason, where, like I mentioned, he's really going to show off in real world scenarios how they're using the tool today. So to begin, let's talk first of an invitation. So hopefully those of you that are joining us are planning on being at the EDUCAUSE conference in person. We are so excited to join EDUCAUSE within Nashville. I myself am going to be there within the booth. So if you happen to be there, stop by at booth 123. What a fun number we ended up with, 123. And we are happy to dive even deeper and even provide demonstrations and help you understand all of our offerings. Now, to dig into what we offer with TeamDynamix, what you'll notice here on this slide is a circle, and we're going to break this down a little bit later of what we have within our platform. But the biggest way that we see our tool being used is to synchronize the entire higher ed institution, the entire enterprise. So unifying service-based work, unifying project-based work, all within a single platform. And where we see ourselves so incredibly powerfully used by our higher education customer base is providing that IT support, providing the ability to track work with groups like marketing, human resources, facilities, housing and residence life. And as we continue to see higher education move and shift towards this idea of a one-stop shop, we through the years have continued to follow that pathway and continue to bring features that help you all continue to support your campus community. And as we've watched the market shift into more of that instant access to self-service through tools like conversational AI, we've continued to add that in to our product line. So let's break this down a little bit further. So if we're looking at this wheel here, you'll notice in that top half, that is visually representing our IT service management function. So think of what you typically will when it comes to managing processes like incidents or service requests or assets. You'll notice on the right of the top half, we have that project and portfolio management functionality. So when you're wanting to manage those longer term initiatives. And then you'll notice right there in the middle, you have that service portal, that knowledge base, and that virtual agent. And so that is representing our conversational AI functionality. And what you'll notice throughout our conversation today is that it's not so much just about the fact that we're able to ingest knowledge sources and automatically generate responses back to users, but that it's built upon our deep and rich integration platform as a service offering. So you'll notice there on the bottom half of that slide, all of those little connectors for tons and tons and tons of different systems. So we'll dive a little bit later into that. But as far as our offering goes, really, truly, it's managing all types of work and supporting all types of service-based teams across the campus within a unified platform. Now, when we think about that, unified campus into that one-stop shop, like I mentioned, we'll see teams like facilities leveraging the ability to have, students submit work orders or faculty and staff submit work orders, being able to have that alongside their asset information. Human resources being able to, again, being in that single spot and allowing faculty and staff being able to submit human resources requests. But not only that, but being able to leverage conversational AI and our integration tool to be able to facilitate automatic offboarding, onboarding, name changing, and the list goes on. We work with really any type of service group across the university or college and bringing everybody together so your campus community truly has that one-stop shop. And that's what's been so exciting about the future of conversational AI and where it's headed, and why we've released features like what we call enterprise bot management, where you can have knowledge across all of these different groups in a single bot, where your student, faculty, and staff, as they're chatting, they don't even need to know what area they're chatting with. It's able to tap into the knowledge of those different places. Now, when we think about breaking this down a little bit further, you'll notice that in that center there, it's representing the ability to be able to have conversational AI, of course, interact with the integration layer. What was really serendipitous for us was years ago when we continued to get so many requests from our customer base to create a scalable and predictable cost model for an integration platform as a service. We went out and we did that. And we have become so proud of what we've been able to offer. And as the years moved on and conversational AI came the next thing that you all needed to support your campus community, we realized in a very serendipitous manner that we had already created this amazing, rich integration automation platform that could actually be that underlying framework for conversational AI. And so what you'll notice here is you'll have that ability to not just, of course, be able to return results based off of your knowledge. So somebody asking a question like, when do classes start? Or when does, Jane term begin? And it being able to crawl your knowledge source on your website or crawl your TeamDynamix knowledge base and automatically return those results. Of course, it can do that, right? That's table stakes in conversational AI. But what you'll see from Jason today in his portion of our presentation is the ability to leverage that rich automation integration to take it that step further. And so when we look at polls like from CIO.com that 76% of IT leaders, report that end users have frustration with their existing bot, it's typically because it's really just a glorified answering machine and not actually moving the needle forward on being able to allow users to self-service and kickstart things that they need. And so when we break down our bots a little bit further, you'll have the ability to, like I mentioned, do that multi-channel support. So not just between different service groups and unifying the knowledge and returning those results, but being able to have your end users engage with you no matter really what tool they're using. So you'll see today from Jason's demonstration, he has conversational AI on their TeamDynamix self-service portal. But you can have that live and exist within Teams, Slack, SMS, email. We have social media channels as well. And so we really want to make sure that we are able to provide to our customers the ability for their end users to interact with them the way that makes the most sense for them. So we want to meet those users where they're at. We also have agentic AI intent matching. And so for those of you that have spent any time in the world of conversational AI, you would, maybe remember that intent terminology. It really just means the thing that gets returned back to the user that's interacted and asked a question. And in traditional bots, you have to sort of think about all of the different phrases and ways that you might expect an end user to ask something. And with our most recent release, offering that agentic AI intent matching allows you to be able to say, hey, I have this automation within my bot that allows users to ask to be added to an Active Directory group and kickstart an approval process. Well, instead of having to think of all the ways they may ask for that, you then can describe what they're looking for and it being able to automatically match that. And you'll notice that we have a variety of other options, being able to have forms that allow users to fill out information and kickstart those processes right within the chatbot itself, where you may not want it to feel like a back and forth intense interview with that user. And then, of course, being able to take those actions right from the conversation. Now, when we think about use cases and ways that we see our customer base leveraging conversational AI, this is really just a drop in the bucket of a bucket of an ocean, really. Jason's going to show you, like he mentioned, a lot of creative ways that they have been using conversational AI to help provide that self-service. But when we think about processes that have that ability to automate, like somebody requesting a name change or address right from the bot, being able to kickstart an API call or a connection right on out to Banner to process that. Being able to facilitate things like faculty pool computer replacements, the ability to have them come and say, hey, here's my inventory control number or my service tag. When am I able to get this replaced? And then if they're eligible, allowing them to facilitate that process. Being able to facilitate things like password resets when platforms you integrate with allow for that. So just again, a drop in the ocean, but Jason will show you some creative ones as well. Now, like I mentioned, we have that powerful integration and automation layer already within our tool. And we were very fortunate to have done that years ago so we could build upon that and really change the industry when it's not just a glorified search and return answer tool. It actually allows you to do that. And so in just the last 12 months, our customers have integrated with almost 20,000 systems, which is amazing when you think about it. And when we talk to our customers, we are constantly hearing all of those stories of, hey, we used to have human in the loop that would take multiple days to process this, like offboarding is a great example, where you're then able to leverage the integration piece to monitor the HRAS. And when we see somebody is offboarding, automatically deprovision their Active Directory account or remove their license from a tool, or shut down their email account or make a change within the SIS system, right? There's the world of possibilities that are out there for you. Now, when we think about the kind of holistic picture here, before I start to pass on over to Jason, and by the way, while Jason is demoing, I know we've had some questions that have come in through chat. So as Jason is demoing away, I'm going to start to answer those within the chat. And then at the end, we'll make sure that we save time for that as well. Now, when we think about bringing this all together, you'll notice that, of course, that conversational AI piece just fits right nicely within that integration layer as well. A little bit more on the integration layer. So you'll notice a bunch of different logos, and these are the common systems that we see our customer base interacting with. But the reality with TeamDynamix is we are connector agnostic. So when you think to yourself, oh, well, can it connect to this system? I didn't see that logo there, or they didn't mention this one particular platform. As long as the solution that you are looking to integrate with allows you to hook into APIs or allows you to access that database, or maybe we monitor alerts that come from that tool, we don't limit you on the amount of connectors you can have or the systems that you can connect to. So you get access to our robust connector library and all of the connectors that we create on behalf of our users are available to all of the users. So that's why coming into conversational AI, we already had all of the top commonly used systems across higher education, because if one of you all request it, you all get it. But the reality is you don't have to request from us. We give you that full freedom to connect to as many systems as you like. Now, when we think about some of the resources that we wanted to provide you, you'll notice within the resources that EDUCAUSE has provided some links to some case studies. In all of my years of working within higher ed IT, I sat through so many vendor demonstrations as we would, through the years, look to improve the tool sets that we had. And when I think back to being in my shoes, I really appreciated getting to hear about real world use cases and being able to actually see it being used in a real use case from a real customer. And so when we were preparing for this presentation today, we figured what is better than actually giving you real case studies and having our actual amazing customer base along with Jason to be able to actually show you TeamDynamix in action so you all can see it. So like I mentioned, I'm going to be in chat answering away at questions. But Jason, are you ready to take the helm and show the group around?
I am certainly ready, and I was gonna say there's a lot of great questions, so I'm sure you're gonna be
Great.
typing away fast and furious, and unfortunately, I will probably generate quite a few more. So,
Perfect. We will do our best, chat.
and I'm certainly willing to. You can interrupt me too if you have something that's very
Perfect.
pertinent, so that we can show.
Will
So,
do.
okay, so hopefully you can see all this. This is our support portal. This is public. This is publicly available. Um, I've zoomed in as much as I really can to be able to show you the bot interface as fully as I can. But this is starting from scratch. You actually, oh, let me do something. I was gonna say it is, but let's say it is not because I want to make sure I move stuff around that I'm not signed in. I meant to do this before and I didn't. So, um, oops, spelling counts. And you will not see me type much. I actually have most of these pre-canned. Let's hopefully you can still see my screen. Yes, you can to the right screen. Okay, so I'm now not signed in. That's what that was my goal was. Um, okay, so I'm going to start the bot from scratch. I'm making sure that we can see everything. Um, and you should all be able to see just the intro of the bot. Just give me a thumbs up or somebody saying that that's right. Okay, perfect. All right, so the bot has started. It's gonna give a little bit of an intro, saying, "Hey, I'm the bot. I'm Bowden Bot. We don't have a Our mascot doesn't have a name, but our mascot is the polar bear. So you'll see that. So you might see a little hint of that in a little bit. Um, kind of give us some introduction. We do ask up front if people would want to authenticate. The reason for this is that the conversational AI will honor the permissions that exist within the knowledge base. So if I were to sign in, I would see everything in the knowledge base because I have access to everything. But some people may sign in and have access to only a certain section of the knowledge base. So the bot wouldn't be able to answer questions related to those more private locations or private sections. As well as if I stay public, you won't be able to see that information either. I'm not going to sign in for now, just to kind of show you how this works. You don't have to ask. Again, we try to make the point of the bot is to be able to be friendly and kind of lead people through conversation, but also give little nuggets here and there of wanting to do something, maybe or return. So I mentioned that we don't have a name, but it is a polar bear. One of the things, this is actually an integration that we do, is I get the weather. So this is random, so people don't see this all the time. It only happens if you are coming in from campus. We actually do reach out, grab the weather, grab what's currently happening outdoors, and we do a little bit of I wouldn't say a fit check, but we get like a little fit idea. Say, hey, right now it's 69 degrees out, maybe a light hoodie to stay comfy. And then a little quip about being a polar bear. So this is random. It completely changes. This is AI based. It's kind of fun. A lot of students really enjoy getting an idea of what's going on. So outside, for some reason, they don't like to open the windows. I mean, open their shades, whatever the case is. Right up front, we do offer a menu. This menu changes if I log in. When I log in, you'll see that this menu can actually get longer. So It's dynamic based on my permissions and what I've allowed myself to see. This is completely customizable. You build it on the fly. I could get more information about the weather. We can chat with a live agent if that's our intent, and our customer says, "I just need to talk with somebody who's here." This button will disappear if there is no one signed in, or if the hours are outside of our set hours for chat. Currently, there is a student who is signed into chat to be able to answer, so I could click this and have a whole conversation, seamlessly go over and have a discussion with them, all within conversational AI. So there's no other platform necessary. It all happens right in here. Um, what I want to do, you don't want to see that. I do need to get some intense though, some utterances, because otherwise you do not want to see me type all these things. So the first one, this is pretty simple. This is a standard. Kaylee talked a little bit about the questions and answers. You don't want to necessarily have. You can go beyond that, and we'll get beyond that. But just as an example of what might be asked, this was actually asked just yesterday. All these intents, by the way, utterances, sorry, that I'm going to say are actual utterances that came from customers within the past 2 or 3 weeks. So none of these are made up. These are just copies and pastes from what they did. So this is kind of demonstrating an example. How do I set up Wi-Fi on my Android device? This is kind of showing that you have this ability to do these little slide outs. And so this is HTML content. This is a crafted intent. So this is specifically written so that it gives this information, because when you have your knowledge base has lots of information about various ways to connect to wireless, AI does have a tendency to get confused. So in order for us to not get confused, we did craft this, but agentically decided that this is the intent to provide the answer to, based on this is an Android phone. They're trying to access wireless, so this is the one we want to go to. So that's just kind of a demonstration of what you could do there. This one's a little bit different. I forgot my password. So, depending on how this wants to answer it, again, it's AI, so we'll see how it wants to answer it. Just to give you a little bit of background, we have this program at the college called the Digital Excellence Commitment, and we provide all of our students 2 devices. We provide them a MacBook Pro and an iPad. So, depending on exactly how it decides it wants to answer the question, it may give me information or a question like, do I want to reset my password on my laptop versus resetting my password, my Bowden password? So perfect. So it's figured out that it's a Bowden password, which I wanted it to do. And you can see, instead of doing the slide outs, I can put embedded images. I can go through a full step on how to do this and how they can go in and create and manually reset their password. We don't allow any self-service aside from this. There's no password changes that happen within the bot. They would actually either do it this way or they'd have to contact us. But that is perfectly fine for us. So this one is interesting. This is, so again, about those devices. So this is just a student saying they need to unenroll their laptop from our device management. Will I lose everything? What's going to happen here is should see a demonstration that you can have custom forms as well. So this slide out is actually showing a bunch of information about a form. Once they fill this information out and click submit this form, it will actually go and pull back additional information. So it will look up there. I can't put mine because I'm not a student, but if I put in a student's email address, put other information in here, it would automatically or dynamically look up the devices that were provided. It will actually check Jamf to see if they've already been removed from our system. And if not, then it will prompt it and go through and put in a ticket for us to be able to assist that. And if it has, it will let them know that it has, and then provide additional instruction on as to what they can do to make sure to remove those configuration profiles. So for any of you who are used to or understand, have used MDM, if a bunch of configuration profiles get installed, and then they can remove them on their own. We're not going to go and fill that out. So, and this is where I'm going to give you an example of also where we can do dynamic credentials. So this is a Workday question. Specifically, we use Workday Student. We went live with Workday Student just a few months ago. We're using AI to kind of determine whether or not this is actually built before the agentic model is put in, so I haven't changed it yet. But it's kind of clarifying a question saying, hey, class finder, you're talking about classes. Is this a Workday question? In our case, a student would say yes, but you can see it's not letting me do anything because I'm not signed in. So I can go ahead and sign in, but I'm not going to. I will actually just switch windows because we'll go back and put the same question into the bot. You might actually see a different answer. Hello. There it goes. See, we got a little slightly different. It's 69 degrees with clouds, no rain in sight, but it's muggy. Stay cool and hydrated. Enjoy the cozy overcast. So again, maybe uh, breathable hoodie or a cotton tee. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, the bot is kind of fun. Oop, don't want to sign in yet. Oop, go. So it should respond slightly differently because I'm actually signed in. And is this question regarding Workday? I want to say yes, it is. And now it will actually provide that information from our Workday. So all of our Workday support articles are in the knowledge base. They are private, they're not public. So that's why it wouldn't answer the question. And the other piece of it is, which is actually interesting for us, is we modeled the Workday support specifically around conversational AI and work management, meaning there is no phone number and no special email address for anybody to be able to email for Workday support. It's going to go ahead and just pull out the information dynamically right from the KB articles. Let's see, is it right? So it is right. So this is exactly how they would do it. So instead of Class Finder, because Class Finder was our old classroom lookup, these are the exact steps. The references are in lines. This is an option, but we like to keep the references in line. We also have the resources available to be able to just click through to go directly to a knowledge base article, which is kind of fun. My account, this is an integration or show with Papercut. So any of you who use Papercut out there, Papercut has an API. It's a connector that you're able to use. I don't remember where my account is. I'm pretty sure I'm still listed as a student. So when I ask about what my print balance is, what it should say is it's going to look up my print balance. This is directly from Papercut. Our students use this feature a lot. It's going to go out and look it up. And it's going to decide that that is not. See, it's AI, so it's decided that, hey, this is how you actually check your print balance. And that's not what I want it to do. It says, what is my Papercut balance? And it happens. Again, it's trying to determine what the utterance should mean. So here it is. So it sees me as a student. It says the Papercut balance is $1.75. It's equivalent to this, and this increase is going to be requested if you're below $3. That is correct. They can ask for an additional increase as well at this point. But what I can actually show you real quick is I'm going to ask the same question, but I'm going to make sure that I'm no longer a student. And the student pieces, I can pull from things like Okta if I wanted to. I could pull from Active Directory if I wanted to get my information. Instead, what I've decided to do is we use the account or department option in TeamDynamix. So all of our classes are listed by their class year. All employees are listed by their actual department. So it's going to look up in TeamDynamix instead and see what my department is, and it should say employees do not carry a balance. So I actually don't have a balance. So it's not going to let me do anything, which is what we wanted it to do. Okay. One thing that is actually really is, was amazing to us is, and this is not really an integration, this is actually native to the platform, but we have a large contingent of international students. And what we saw when we introduced not only conversation, but we introduced the laptop options, the digital excellence commitment, but we also introduced the conversational AI, is that we had students who chose, rightfully, for themselves what language they wanted their platform to be in. And it's a variety, it's huge. Conversational AI, we were a little nervous going in, like how do we accommodate the language in those pieces? Like are we expecting them to know English? They need to know English to come to attend the call Bowdoin anyway, but how do we make it better for them? What's that use? And we were nervous about that, but the translation services are actually built into the platform. So if I ask the question, this is in Italian. It's actually the question about about Class Finder that I had already asked. it knows something's about Workday. I'm going to say yes, and it's actually going to go look up that information up again. But what I want to point out is while the bot is currently responding in English here, if my browser was set to a different language, the entire conversation would be in a different language. What's also really fascinating to me is that if a student chose to um, go through, or employee, but goes through a live chat conversation, the middle piece, the bot piece, will actually do the translation for both the technician and the customer. So I could have a student who is um, would prefer to type and speak in Mandarin, and then I have a customer who wants to use Italian. They would actually be able to talk without an issue because the bot would actually be able to make that change and that translation using translation services to be able to have a fluent conversation between the two parties, which is completely fascinating to me. Let's see, more integrations. So one integration, again, going back to kind of how we can connect to things, also going back to the students and their laptops. Every year, if we're dropping them from MDM, they don't normally have access to their file vault key, but they need to have access to that key. Or if they've lost their password to their laptop or forgot their password for the laptop for some reason, then we encrypt those devices, so they're kind of stuck without being able to get into it. But the bot, with its integration with Jamf and TeamDynamix, can go get that information for them. So it is going to look up right now my assigned asset, and this is not real, but it is a laptop that I put in here that's assigned to me. It's looking me up because I've signed in, so knows who I am. It's looking up the asset that's assigned to me. It's going to actively go to Jamf. Well, this time it decided not to. See, the bot has decided to play night, not play the way I want it to play this morning. But it's this. I'll ask the same question and see what happens. But that provided an answer. I built the tool within TeamDynamix within our client portal. Sorry, with their process automation platform as well to be able to look this up. But if they come to the bot, yes, there we go. Now it should go out and get my file vault key. But it will actually go to Jamf and again and return that file vault key, which is kind of crazy to think that it's taking that extra work out of it, taking that layer out of it, and there's the file vault key, and I'm off and ready to go with instructions on how to reset my login password. Um, it's all right there, all handled, all securely, because again, it's my key assigned to me. I'm signed in. It's not going to get some random device. And again, that is a key that is not real. So for all of you security minded out there, I get it. That's fake. So don't you worry. We'll be erasing this machine soon after this meeting and then resetting the key. But not to leave our Windows users out, because we do have faculty and staff who use Windows devices. We can do the same with BitLocker. The difference with BitLocker is obviously there's more. You have to enter information. So we could do this one of two ways. The easiest way that we could find is to actually ask for the segments of the key, that first the recovery key ID, ask for the segments individually one at a time. We could and had a form to fill out as well, but people seem to enjoy, well, I don't know if you enjoy getting a recovery key ever, but for those of our faculty or staff who need to, they responded better to being able to just enter the key in the 5 different pieces. You'll see again, this Windows device is fake as well. We just did this one the other day just that we could build it out. And it's going out to, this one went out to Intune and actually pulled in the recovery key, as well as the model, the make, model, and all the information. So we're able to go and make those connections and do the work that we don't have to do, meaning the support staff, the service desk staff, the frontline support team, they're able to not need to interact, which is not, the interaction, I should say, is not a bad thing, obviously. They don't need to interact, and then because they can get that, they take that load of work off of themselves, which frees them up to do a lot of other stuff, which is fabulous. So dynamic credentials are not tied to just Team Dynamics. We can do dynamic credentials with Microsoft 365, or I can even do dynamic credentials with Canvas. Now, Canvas stuff, I should say, we're still in development of all of these pieces, but I can actually go out and it should. Hopefully, you'll be able to see it. You see, you won't be able to see it because it's on the wrong screen. Let's see if I can move it over. Oh, there it is. Um, this is just say iPass, which is conversation AI. We named it Team Dynamics iPass. But anyway, hey, I want to authorize to be able to access my data from Canvas. So it's still logging in as me, getting that information. And those are all the courses that I'm currently signed up for, which is quite fun. And I could click one. None of these have anything really, but learning passes to Gen AI. What it's actually probably going to do is yes. So the only thing I really have right now is I can get the course calendar. So I can get the link to the course calendar. It's going to open the ICS file. I can download the ICS and obviously synchronize that with where's all my things go popping up all over the place. Yeah, there it goes. And put that in Outlook and have a great day. So that works. Let's see what else we want to do. I should probably with the time. Well, we got a little bit of time.
Yeah, I was going to say, we do have a little bit of time. I know
Yep.
that Jason Martin
Yep.
put the poll up for everybody. So please, 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 please fill out that poll for us to let us know how we've done so far. And Jason, we did have a few questions that came in that I think would be helpful to get some clarification from you on.
Yeah.
One of the questions that we received was asking about where your bot lives. So Sylvie had asked, is the general bot just on this page, or do you have it expanded out to other pages, like a main landing page?
So that's a good question. So this bot is sitting in our client portal, our support portal. So any page within this environment, the bot will show up in. So I could switch out to the knowledge base page, and the bot's still there. Um, we are we don't yet have it on the IT website, but it will be there. But you can put it anywhere. So we actually have the bot. We are working with the Office of Admissions to have a bot for them that will answer a lot of the admissions questions. That data is scraped directly from the admissions website. They've been testing it. They have really good feedback and really, really impressed with its ability to answer. That will only exist on the admissions website, so it won't exist anywhere else. But you can kind of anywhere that's web-based that can take a script tag, you can put this anywhere.
Mhm. Thank you on that one. And one of the questions from Marie was asking about, what sort of analytics and reporting is available in conversational AI to help you understand its effectiveness. I had explained a little bit earlier that we have a variety of reports that can help you understand how effective the bot is at answering those questions. And
Mhm.
specifically in our most recent release, we gave even more reporting to help you understand how your knowledge sources are performing. And so when we think about providing those generated responses, Team Dynamics allows you to connect, like Jason mentioned, to your Team Dynamics knowledge base, where it automatically abides by the visibility permissions based on either that unauthenticated user or authenticated user. It can connect to crawl your websites, even authenticated websites, SharePoint. If you have a local shared folder that you want to be able to crawl, you can upload documents directly to it. And that's where it'll help you understand knowledge gaps. But Jason, how are you leveraging reporting to understand the effectiveness of your bot?
I think we're leveraging a lot of that reporting, but you can also do custom pieces and custom tagging. So the big thing which I was which I was kind of holding until the end, but we are seeing through the use of conversational AI since probably for the past year or so, we are seeing about what we consider about a 65% ticket deflection. And you say, well, what does that mean? That means that 65% of the stuff, conversations that are being asked, the questions being asked would have created a ticket for us. So how are we getting that data? First, we are using AI to make the determination. We are passing the utterance or what's being asked along with the answer to an AI to be able to say, hey, do you think this answered this question? And then we're flagging that and putting it into a report or putting it into a spreadsheet so that we can track that information. Obviously, we don't believe that AI is going to always give us the right answer either. I'm sure none of you do. So we spot check that periodically and go through those numbers and make sure that yes, this actually makes sense. This answer did really provide this information, and so through those pieces, we're able to get that data point. So while we have the built-in reports, you can do a bunch of other reporting, just depending on what kind of data you want to collect, and then being able to store that elsewhere, either in a spreadsheet or in the internal. There's some shared data sets and other things that you can do with it.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. And I'm trying to answer some of those in chat too, but since we're verbally talking, I'm going to answer some of
Sure.
these without typing them. But Sylvie had said, is it also integrated with systems that can provide information about students or staff that has specific information? And so I had just replied that that's essentially what Jason was doing with the print balance in that use case that he showed. So the reality is we can connect to Banner, Workday, any sort of HRIS system, student information system, HRIS system, or even your own homegrown applications where you have created your own APIs. I know how incredible our developers are across our higher ed institutions. And so oftentimes you might have your own homegrown application. And so we don't limit you on being able to connect to any of those types of systems. And so when we think about that authenticated user, that's something very unique with our tool is that deep SSO integration. So you can very securely know if somebody comes to the bot and says, what's my print balance or what's my PTO balance? When it connects out to that other system, it's verifying that we've got that proper authenticated user. And then Craig had asked, if someone asks a question that's not related to admissions, can the admissions bot still find that info, connect to other bots, or do users need to make sure they go to the correct location? So when I was talking earlier about that enterprise bot management, that is where that feature set lives within our tool. And so if you have that need, which for most of our customers, that's exactly how they want it to function, Craig. So if you happen to be on admissions portal, it's going to first focus on that admissions information. And if it's unable to answer, you can set that up to go, well, then go look at IT's knowledge, go look at housing's knowledge, and then being able to seamlessly provide those answers in that unified location where that student, right, doesn't have to hunt and peck around to figure out where to go. Jason, anything there more that you wanted to add about that?
No, I would agree. And you can pick and choose as well. So our admissions team doesn't want to send technical information. They don't want to move the student out because they're prospective students. They want to make sure they answer those questions for them specifically. We have another bot that we're working on with our student activities team, and they would like to have those technical pieces. So if somebody were to use their bot and ask a question about some form of technical, whatever it might be, the bot will seamlessly just pass that information on. It says, "Oh, you're internally, it's thinking, okay, it's making the decision that your question should be answered by this bot," and so it passes that information over. The customer doesn't have to go anywhere different. It happens within the same interface, the same UI. Nothing changes. But we can also pass, so we can pass back and forth, and you can pass to one or many. So there's lots of different options.
Awesome. And I know that we're getting closer to time here, so I think we might have this one last question, which I think its name is Ben, had asked Jason, do you all use the TeamDynamix chatbot internally for your IT staff to be able to ask questions and get assistance?
That is a great question. Also, we don't do it from an IT professional staff, but from the from the student workers, they do. So there's actually another customer where I can quickly show you. Get out of my way. If I switch portals and go to my digital core students, their bot icon is purple, but this information is used and is exclusively trained on the information within their knowledge base as well as the public information. So they're able to get information from both.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Jason. And thank you so, so much to all of the interactions in chat. You always get a little worried that people might be quiet, and you all were not. So we really, really appreciate it. Jason Peltier, any last words that you wanted to say before we pass to Jason Martin? So many Jasons
I
today to
know.
round us out.
No last words. I just think the biggest challenge that we always face is getting somebody to use the bot once it's created. And while you were talking, I was doing some fun things that we've done with it, which make people come back all the time. They really like the Magic 8 Ball, even though we just did it. They seem to ask the silly thing questions constantly, and also lunch. What the heck are we eating today? And so that's always in there. So just making somebody they're all integrations that you can do. The sky's the limit. Just have fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jason.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both. And just to answer Stephen's question, yes, all session recordings are posted to the Canvas site, which are linked right there. So they are posted within about an hour afterward. Thank you all for joining us. Just want to draw your attention to in the chat, there was a link to our next demo day, which is on August 28th. And that'll be on AI-enabled student success and engagement tools. So feel free to take this opportunity quickly to register for that. And other than that, we'll see you at our next session starting right away over for Gecko. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, Kaylee and Jason. Take care.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. Have a good
You.
week.